I am Melene Lemaster, and I'm a senior at Eastern Kentucky University. This presentation involves both what I believe from my learning and what evidence suggests can help humanity survive and thrive. Together, we can make a wonderful world. National Center for Biotechnology Information. The average person knows 750 people. These are people we have met, been friends with, been acquainted with, or worked with. These are people we remember. How many people you impact depends on the number you meet every day. If you were to live 75 years and multiply 365 days by 75, then multiply that by 2, which would be 2 new people you meet a day, the total would be 27,375. Changing the world begins with one person, and that person is you. Despite the daily hassles like getting out of that comfy bed on a cold day or having to sit in traffic when we are late, most of us at least have a bed, a car, and the opportunity to go to work. That alone is grounds for being grateful. Most of our needs are met on a daily basis, which makes us comfortable enough to forget that there are those who do not even have the luxury of a home, let alone the luxury of a soft warm bed. Remember what you have, no matter how little, and pass along a smile or a warm greeting to someone else so they can take that and pay it forward. Your mental well-being can be improved according to some scientific research. Large or small acts of giving and kindness is significantly predictive of better mental health, life satisfaction, self-esteem, happiness, lower depressive symptoms, psychological distress, mortality, and functional ability. The more you perceive yourself as capable, the more others will do the same. When you begin to help others, others are also likely to jump in and help, and the world gets a little better. It's common knowledge that a little kindness goes a long way. Some of us like our alone time, but can begin to believe that we do not need human interaction. Researchers have found that humans are social creatures who thrive better when we have at least some interaction with others. In their 2014 study, Mistakenly Seeking Solitude, Epley and Schroeder concluded that participants in this study were surprised by how much more positive their experiences during everyday activities, such as taking public transportation or waiting on an appointment, could be when they interacted with a stranger. Some form of warfare seems to be raging at any given time. Much like some wars today, during the past, different people fought for resources in areas they occupied, or left in droves to occupy plentiful areas when their resources depleted, or their territory was encroached by the greedy. As the population grew, there was less places to go. People began settling in larger communities for safety, support, and acceptance. We had to learn to be tolerant, patient, and loving of people who seem unlike ourselves. Differences are not necessarily a bad thing, and it is not unlike how some people feel about solitude, in that it is necessary that there is diversity so that we do remember to be kind, loving, and grateful. Here because our ancestors survived long enough to breed, bear, and rear children. Science is finding that resilience is passed in DNA. Considering the obstacles they had to overcome will give us pause to feel grateful that we do not live in a time of giant creatures who hunted us, warring clans out to climb our castle walls, or during a time before modern medicine. Those who were good hunters and gatherers had the advantage, and those who were not had to hone the skills of diplomacy and kindness so that when captured, they would not lose their life. The adrenaline we produce helps our body prepare for action. What action we choose is aided by the cue of that system to look for danger and run or prepare to fight. But if there is no immediate danger, we use that focus to choose a less aggressive method to resolve the disturbance. For example, being bumped by a cart while shopping is not an immediate threat, but the pain in our heel can set off the fight or flight response. Looking at the person, we can surmise that since he or she does not have a spear, they are not deliberately out to harm us. Even though, with all the emotion caused by the adrenaline, we can still choose to remain kind. After all, they are not storming your castle. In the mid 1600s, Rene Descartes closely followed the philosopher Socrates in his belief that the single function of the mind was thought. He also stated that the belief that everything else, perception, feeling, emotion, movement, and so on, were merely functions of the body. His quote seen here did not include the fact that those bodily functions contributed to forming thoughts. In essence, we didn't take them into account when thinking logically. Unlike Antonio Damasio, a neuroscientist, whose quote seen here states his belief that your thoughts emerge from emotion and feelings. Whatever your school of thought may be, reacting to emotions is a human experience. If someone smiles at us, we're likely to smile in return. We even react to someone else's pain with feelings of empathy. While it can be difficult to communicate with those whose faces appear to show negative emotion, we cannot read their minds to understand why they look distressed. That person who hit your heel with the cart might have been distracted by his or her own troubles. The point is, we have a choice to run in anger or to speak kindly to them, even while we rub our sore heel. Somehow, somewhere, there is an awful reason that we have so many homeless people in this world. We can only speculate as to what that awfulness is. It is just an assumption that greed is involved. No matter what the circumstances are that people end up in the dire situation of homelessness, it is the need of every human to have adequate shelter from the elements, food to nourish them, and water to drink. These are people, fellow inhabitants on this journey. Why are we letting this happen? Every being has the right to have their needs met. Ask yourself why, and then ask yourself, what can I do? As we live through the uncertainty about the global pandemic, I think of all the other ways humans choose to destroy each other. This is one of my favorite pictures of all time. It was taken at a protest by people who were sick and tired of losing their friends and family to war. In 2002, during his acceptance speech after receiving a Nobel Peace Prize, former President Jimmy Carter said, "War may sometimes be a necessary evil, but no matter how necessary, it is always an evil, never a good. We will not learn to live together in peace by killing each other's children. Wars are started when people choose aggression over kindness." I think of my friend Bob, who says about making decisions. What if everybody did it? A people unhappy with the indignities suffered by their race gathered in Oregon in 2014 to protest the maltreatment and support victims of violence in another state. This child was offering free hugs to anyone who would take them. His tears were from a lack of understanding of why people would need to be violent to solve problems. The riot control officer hugging the child is an example of the kindness that we can choose in support of each other. Wikipedia states that the definition of the availability heuristic or availability bias as a mental shortcut that relies on immediate examples that come to a given person's mind when evaluating a specific topic, concept, method, or decision. Using function in MRI, research suggests that emotions facilitate encoding memories. This suggests that the more often a younger person sees an older person having negative actions, the legacy left behind are stories of fear, resentment, or anger that he or she must disregard to be happy. Is this how you want to be remembered? I have seen many conflicts during my journey on this earth. I did not always choose to be kind. It is something I regret more as I get older. To remedy that, I choose to love more. Most of the conflicts could have been avoided if just one person chose to be kind. The current pandemic keeps us from personal interaction, but we can take this as an opportunity to reflect on the problems we can solve when this is finally over. Wearing a mask and using hand sanitizer frequently is a hassle, but it's not just an act of kindness to yourself, it's an act of kindness to everyone else. We aren't living in times of imminent danger, and personally, I'm grateful we don't have to hide from dinosaurs. It's my daily affirmation. Humans whose basic needs are met are not likely to be angry or unhappy individuals. One of those needs is love. When we learn to love everyone, we make a wonderful world.